What do you think of this Impact show that I didn't see? Lance, thank God you're here.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying it. And again, there was a lot. We had Royal Rumble footage on this show. I was dumbfounded that WWE gave them Royal Rumble footage.
That tells you how desperate they were to get women.
Yeah, no kidding. They bent over to acquire Mickie James for that show. But I'm a big fan of the New Japan guys. Jay White and the Guerrillas of Destiny were on this show, and having the Bullet Club faction, having the Honor No More faction, the heel outlaws from Ring of Honor. And the other thing too that they're doing a great job with, because they had Roxy on as a babyface Ring of Honor Women's Champion. They've got Jonathan Gresham on as a babyface Ring of Honor World Champion. And they even had Kerry Silken on this show. But they're doing a great job of acknowledging that Ring of Honor is a babyface company. Jonathan Gresham is a babyface that has honor. These Honor No More guys are outlaws that are dishonorable people, and Ring of Honor's not happy with them either. So they're not painting Ring of Honor as a heel, and I think they're doing a good job with it, because that was one of the problems with the invasion with WWE. The talent kept saying, it's like, who are the heels here? Are the invading WCW guys heels? Is WWE heel? Who's what? And they've made it very clear that the Honor No More 5, there are 6 now if you they added Kenny King to the mix this week, so they've got 5 wrestlers and Maria, that you've got these outer factions that are adding a real good element to this show, that there's a bit of, gang warfare feel to it that's really good. The other thing they did on the show, Cardona challenged Jordyn Grace for the Digital Media Championship, and we've talked about the issues with intergender, and again, they did a good job with it here, but they did something I think was really smart, in that I believe this was the Matt Cardona heel turn, and Cardona on every booking except Impact up until this point, he's a heel. And he seems to be getting quite over and a lot of heat with being, the former WWE, guy. And I think turning him in Impact is a good idea. And they did a competitive match with Cardona being tentative with hitting a woman, even though that, again, other than him being taller than her, she certainly is thick and strong as he is. But he did end up turning heel and winning the Digital Media Championship, which I think is a good direction for him, because I think with all of the heel stuff he's doing everywhere else, top babyface Matt Cardona is a hard sell. What else did I want? Oh, they announced they're bringing Gut Check back for a one-day tryout at the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio.
Featuring who, Lance Storm?
Yes, featuring me as the trainer, coach, observer. I assume I will be judge, coach, trainer, all rolled into one. So they announced that. The other thing, too, that they debuted a new Indian guy, Bhupinder, I don't know his last name. And he's obviously green, but I think he shows way more potential than many of the other Indian guys they've debuted in different companies over the last little while. But they did a really interesting thing in that last week they had Raj Singh announce that he's bringing this guy in. And Raj Singh's a heel. And he's bringing this new guy in. So the new guy comes in and Raj isn't with him. And I'm like, that's odd. And this new guy, Bhupinder, works as a babyface in this match. Really good athlete. I think he's got some potential. He's green, but hey, he's got some potential. I'm like, where's Raj? And then Raj comes out at the end to celebrate with him, and the guy leaves him. And I'm like, this is really smart, in that if you want this guy to be a babyface, just coming out as, hey, I'm green guy from India, cheer me. It's like, that's a tough sell. But by having Raj as an established heel go, hey, this guy's with me, and have him going, no, I'm not, dude. It's like you're giving us something more to attach to him as a babyface, and I think it's a really smart move. what else did I want to? Oh, the main event. It was odd, but I liked it because again, I haven't seen a ton of Jay White because I don't watch a lot of New Japan World. And I haven't watched New Japan Strong, but
about damn time you started, Lance.
He's really
fucking
good.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's just it was the Bullet Club. It was Jay White, Gorillas of Destiny, and Chris Bay, and they're against Fulton and Ace Austin, who are heels, Speedball Mike Bailey, who's a babyface, and Jake Something, who's a babyface. So it's a weird dynamic because also, too, the Bullet Club is kind of cool and good. But they did a really good job of it, and it's like Speedball Mike Bailey in there with Jay White was really freaking good. And they did a great job of highlighting Jake Something as well by having the heels not allow him to get in, and the crowd was getting into Jake Something. And they gave him the big comeback before the Bullet Club, eventually won. And it's like, I thought they told a really great story, but again, you can just tell that Jay White is on another plane from not everybody on the show, but from a lot of guys. Like he's
say pretty
really
goddamn near
crisp
everybody
and pretty damn freaking tight. And seeing him out there, I think really helps the show. It brings up the caliber of the show. But again, by taking somebody like Speedball, who's pretty new to Impact Wrestling, and it's like, again, it's all Jay, but it's like Jay made him look like $1 million and highlighted him and did a good job. And it's like, I really enjoyed it. And I think there's a really great feel to having these. You've got the Ring of Honor faction, the New Japan faction. You've got the interesting dynamic that they're getting to with Violent by Design and the Good Brothers against the Bullet Club, because it's like the Good Brothers used to be part of the Bullet Club, and having them in there against the current Bullet Club, creates a lot of interest. And it's like, on the whole, it's a really solid show. They did another highlight of, I'm blanking on his name, Jonah. You know what I mean? Continually to make Jonah look strong. They're continuing to build Masha Slamovich. They did the Gisele Shaw is coming, and I joked that she will beat Veer, even though Veer had like a 6-month head start on her. She will probably be there first. And it's like they continue to build the women's division. They've got Deanna with 2 belts strong with both the Ring of Honor Women's Championship and the Reina de Reyes AAA Championship. And it's like the show's got a really good international wrestling feel that it's like, again, obviously I have a biased opinion because I'm actually working there now, or at least will be in the very short near future. But I think it deserves more eyes, and I think if you give it a chance, it's like you'll appreciate checking it out.
All righty, well,
Right.
I will be checking it out, Lance, soon. All right, I did not see Impact. I was busy doing cameos of all things this week.
Bugger. You said with it being on Tuesday, you'd see the show.
Well, I will see the show because we now have a babysitter scheduled for Tuesday morning. So in the future, I will be able to watch Impact every week. But with Hawaii tomorrow and foolishly offering cameos for $10, it didn't work out. But what did you think of the show? Because I would like to mention something about Josh Alexander after you talk about him.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to mention that first. Yeah, I really like the show. I think the show has been extremely good the last few weeks. I think they're doing an excellent job of building it. But again, and I should preface this by saying I have absolutely no idea the state of Josh Alexander. I have no idea if this is a shoot, a work, or what. I wasn't at these tapings. I think today actually is my first day technically of work when my contract kicks in, but Saturday will be my first day at work. So I have zero inside knowledge, so I can speculate and do whatever I want with this. Josh opened up the promo, and they actually, Big Kon, Connor of the Ascension, came out, and they had a quick match, and Josh tapped him out and did the angle with Scott, where Scott sent him home. Removed him from Team Impact for No Surrender this Saturday and sent Josh home. And if you follow Josh Alexander on Twitter, he says his contract has expired and thus his visa has expired, and he's not doing other dates, and it's like, seems odd to me.
Okay, I got a theory. You ready for this?
Sure.
Because when this first happened, I thought, this is a storyline. But now I have a theory, okay? Here's my theory. I believe that Josh Alexander's contract came due and that his work visa has expired. I believe that this is all true. Now, the rest of it, why doesn't the rest of this make sense? Because I believe this. So there is a Mandela effect thing going on here, because I and others seem to recall that Josh Alexander recently signed a new deal. And actually, he didn't. He signed a 3-year deal in February of 2019. So the math all works out that his contract did expire, okay? So, like, if you know that his contract is coming due in February, why, like, the whole storyline where he won the title, it got stolen by Moose, why didn't he do a match with Moose that Moose wins? Why did he beat a new guy and then immediately get sent home? Why do you do all this to a guy whose contract is expired and he can show up wherever tomorrow? I'll tell you why. Because the way the wrestling business is right now, I think that if Josh Alexander signed literally anywhere on this fucking planet except WWE, they would have the ability to finish these storylines with Josh Alexander. I think that they believe that when this all gets handled, he is going to re-sign with Impact. And therefore, there was no immediate need to have Moose beat him or do whatever, because they presume he's coming back. If he does not come back, if he signs with AEW, I believe that it can be worked out where he can come back and lose a match to Moose, even though he's under AEW contract. If he starts working for Ring of Honor, if he goes to New Japan, signs for New Japan Strong, the only place that this won't happen is if he signs with WWE. And my guess is that nobody thinks that there's a good chance that Josh Alexander is going to go to WWE. That's what I think is going on here. They may have made a mistake. He could end up in WWE, and then this is all for naught. But I think that there's a pretty good chance that no matter what happens, he's going to be able to finish off whatever he's doing at Impact Wrestling. That's my thought.
Well, interesting thought, and I don't disagree with it, but I do think it's possible that even with WWE, with the current successful working situation with Mickie James and WWE giving them Rumble footage to air on Impact and so forth, that I could see where if he did sign with WWE, they might allow him to start a month later and wrap up. But the thing that makes me question, because I agree with you, it's like if you know he's leaving, why did he beat Jonah? Why did he beat Big Kon? Why did he, not do the singles match with Moose? To me, if he wants to look at the field, see what's available out there, and assess all of his options, to me, the best solution would be 2 months ago, give him written clearance to start negotiating so that he can reach out to these companies and is not in breach of contract to start negotiating a March debut. That way, you find out if he finds anything he likes, and you can finish him up on his last day if he goes somewhere else, and you don't have the problem of, hoping he honors and AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, whoever, allows him to come back. But if it was, like, if he doesn't come back to me, having Scott just go home, and then he never shows up again, it seems awful flat. So I hope it's a work, and he comes back. Maybe it'll be the second coming of the Pillman Angle, who knows. But to that end, I really want to put this over, and I want to take a bit of time, so I want to get to it, and I'll skip over the rest of the stuff in the middle of the show, and I'll come back to it. When they got rid of Josh, they're short a man in the Impact versus the Honor No More match at the No Surrender. I think this is one of the best angles I've seen in a long time. That it's that great situation where it can go one way, or they can swerve you and go another way, but both will make sense. And to me, that's really great booking, because they've been doing, I mentioned it last week, Jonathan Gresham, Ian Riccaboni, Carrie Silken, and Roxy, when she was there, were baby faces. They were honorable people from Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor was a baby face. These people were baby faces. And the Honor No More people are outsiders from both aspects. Impact thinks they're disreputable. Ring of Honor thinks they're unhonorable. So you've got this great faction, and Steve Maclin has been feuding with Jonathan Gresham. And when Josh got sent home, Maclin came in and asked to be part of the Ring of Honor team to get back at these Honor No More guys. And Team Impact said, no offense, dude, but we're picking Jonathan Gresham. And said they wanted Jonathan Gresham on their team.
Well, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't want him on my team.
Later segment, Jonathan Gresham's laid out backstage unconscious, which again, who jumped him? Did Honor No More jump him? Did Steve Maclin jump him? Which happened? Both make sense. Did Steve Maclin do it because he wants on the team? Did Honor No More jump him because they don't want him on the team? So then there's the big thing where Steve Maclin again comes up to Team Impact and goes, I want in. And Ian Riccaboni's there, and he says that he's known this guy a long time, he can be trusted, and vouches for him. And they accept him. So now Steve Maclin is part of Team Impact. And again, he could be part of Team Impact. Everything could be great. It could have been Honor No More that jumped Gresham. Ian Riccaboni's vouches for the guy. He's a stand-up guy, and they do their job. Or Ring of Honor was together all the time. And Jonathan Gresham is either in on it and just laying possum in the back, didn't actually get jumped. Or again, he might have been honorable, but Ian Riccaboni could be a stooge on the inside and vouched for Maclin, so Maclin can get on Team Impact, and then he could betray them and allow the Honor No More guys to win because he took out Gresham. And it's like, there's a lot going on here, and it's like all of the options could make sense. Ian Riccaboni could be honorable. He could be part of Honor No More. Steve Maclin could be honorable, or he could be part of Honor No More.
Trust that Riccaboni as far as I can throw him.
So it's like, I thought this was a really great angle that really piqued my interest of where this is going. And as a viewer, I assume, I don't know this, but with the stipulation being, if Honor No More wins, they're part of Impact. If they lose, they have to go away. I don't know. Have they all signed Impact deals? Are they going to sign Impact deals? So it's like, if they are going to continue this angle, they need to win. And Maclin might be a good means by which to do this. Or again, maybe they didn't want Josh, if he has in fact re-signed, they wanted to remove Josh from the picture just so that, top babyface in the company doesn't have to take an L in a match to allow these Honor No More people in. So it's like, there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of ways it can go. And to me, that's good wrestling, because if Maclin doesn't turn, it's like, hey, that makes sense. If Maclin turns, it's like, hey, that makes sense. And there's a lot of different options here. And again, this show has, we've got Bullet Club. And that was the other thing I thought was funny, with everyone losing their shit over Jay White in a backstage segment on Dynamite. And again, I guess he wrestled on Rampage, which I missed. But, Jay White's wrestling this Thursday. Who's he wrestling on Thursday? I think he's got the single with Eric Young is the pay-per-view. Oh, it's six-man Bullet Club against Violent by Design this Thursday on Impact, and then he's got the single with Eric Young on No Surrender on Saturday. So it's like, Jay White's been a part of Impact for a while now, and again, the more I see of him, the more impressed I am. That guy is...
no shit.
That guy is
ever heard
really
of NJPWsWorld.com?
I have, yes.
Check it out.
Really, really freaking good.
It's fucking awesome.
And also, too, a SWA grad of mine made her Impact Wrestling debut, Gisele Shaw.
Really?
Yep. She. It was funny because they were doing the Quintessential Diva is Coming videos for a couple of weeks. And I tweeted, I bet you she beats Veer. And she did. She made her debut, and she's wrestling Thursday against Lady Frost. So we got a Chelsea Green Mickie James match this week. DQ finish, which was a little disappointing, but so be it. They're coming back with a tag, and we had Deonna Purrazzo. That's the thing I've mentioned before, and again, I'm touting the success of Impact, and I do have a vested interest in it now, but I'd mentioned the Knockouts divisions. Like, we got Deonna Purrazzo against Santana Garrett on this show, and I thought it was really cool in that she's doing the Open Challenge, and Deonna's got the Ring of Honor Women's title as well as the Reina de Reyes AAA title. And it's like Santana Garrett comes out, and it's like Deonna stands there, holds up her two belts. It's like, all right, which one are you challenging for? And the challenger gets to pick which title she wants a shot at. So I think she wanted the Ring of Honor title. It didn't matter. Deonna won, but it was a really good, solid match. And then we followed with Mickie James and Chelsea, which I really liked, but again, I'm obviously very biased. I helped train both women, so they're coming back with a tag against Tasha Steelz and Savannah, I believe, is the woman that's with her. So it's really good. And again, the Bullet Club has been great, and they did I guess it's the Kingdom, right? Taven and Bennett against Rhino and Swan on this show. That again, it was really solid as well. So we've got Bullet Club, we've got Ring of Honor, we've got Honor No More, we've got Impact. That's
why I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if that guy's not signed right now. He could go to the fucking moon and they could bring him in for angles.
Yeah, and we got a stacked women's division, and then again, more than anything else, it's like with even if Josh doesn't come back, there's a stacked roster here with a lot of different companies and lots of different options, which is always exciting and great. And one of these days, you'll actually watch a show, Brian.
Oh, get out of here, Lance. Ridiculous. I fucking watch so many shows. Sometimes you're better off if I don't watch the show.
Then I can just...
Like that Inspiration match. I haven't watched it yet.
You said you were going to go back and watch it.
I know. I need to. I had some people texting me, goes, "What the fuck is Lance talking about?" So I'm gonna find out eventually. We'll see if I find out before Veer shows up.
Actually, I just reminded, there was actually, and again, I'm not a huge fan of backstage segments, but I did like the angle behind it with the Inspiration versus the Influence tag match. It's that match that just for whatever reason never happens. There was, I think someone was exposed to COVID, it didn't happen, and then someone else missed a taping and couldn't happen. And it's like they have to keep this going. And this week they had the Inspiration got Kaleb with a K, a new camera to take more selfies with, and he was all excited. And
was it a camera with a C?
I don't know. Maybe it was camera with a K. That would have been a hell of a gig to impress him. It's like, we got you a special one. It's camera with a K. But they asked him to take some photos of them.
You're the guy
and then,
getting
of course,
paid by this place. Ridiculous.
He got caught. And Madison Rayne caught him taking photos of other women.
Ooh,
so poor Caleb's in hot water. It's not looking good for him.
Yeah, he's in the doghouse with a D. That's what he is right now.
They should do that every segment he's in, no matter what it is.
Everything should have a... I'm underpaid, Lance.
I mean, they had Eddie Edwards. Jay White turned on Tama, Tonga, and Tangaloa, which is interesting because that's a New Japan angle being shot in Impact. Although Jay's not been in New Japan itself, but it's, Bullet Club. Those guys have been Bullet Club members for forever. So that was interesting. And then Eddie Edwards, they had the X-Ring of Honor guys, 10-man tag, which I heard was really good. X-Ring of Honor guys against the Team Impact, and the Ring of Honor guys had to win or they were out. So, of course, they were going to win. So the deal was that Eddie Edwards turned on Impact to join Ring of Honor because Eddie Edwards has a past in Ring of Honor, although it was many, many, many years ago. And they had been teasing that on TV. Like, there'd been the hints. I figured that was the finish of this match, and it was. And it wasn't like it's some great clairvoyance to figure it. I mean, they absolutely built it up, and it happened. And it made, the story, it was the storyline. It was not a shock out of nowhere or anything like that, that they threw at you. You knew I don't say you knew it was coming, but you kind of did if you just followed the TV and everything. So so that happened, and I don't know. Have you seen the results?
We had Trey Miguel beating John Skyler in a non-title match. We had Hook beating Havoc defeating Tennille Dashwood. Hook was not on the show, everybody, so don't go out and grab the pay-per-view just to see him. But Havoc at the pile driver on Dashwood got the win. Jake Something beat Chris Bay, Ace Austin, Speedball Mike Bailey to become the X Division #1 contender. We had Jonah beating Black Taurus. And Switchblade, of course, beat Eric Young, which probably was a great match, although I've not seen it. But you've got Eric Young and Jay White in there, so it would be tough for it not to be. Deanna Purrazzo beat Miranda Alizé to retain the Ring of Honor Women's title. Matt Cardona beat Jordyn Grace via DQ to retain the digital media title.
Evidently, this match wasn't good.
We had Good Brothers beating Gorillas of Destiny as noted. Jay White turned on Tama, Tonga, and Tonga Loa. Mickie James beat Tasha Steelz for the Knockouts title. Moose defeated W. Morrissey to retain the Impact title. And then the Honor No More team as noted beat Team Impact. And so they're sticking around for the time being.
Yeah.
So are you regretting this whole getting a job thing yet, Lance? Because this sounds like it's just like no buys. I mean, there's money involved and everything like that, but...
Well, there was no snow in New Orleans, so that was a positive. But travel is... Actually, this travel week wasn't that bad. Like, I hate going to the airport at, 3:30 in the morning, which I had to do to leave. And there seems to be fewer connections and more common delays. Because both my one flight heading down and one flight flying back were delayed. So I was doing like 13 hours travel door to door to get from here to New Orleans. But I really enjoyed being back at work. I think I'd mentioned when I revealed on the show when I signed with Impact that when I was there the couple tapings before, there's just a really good team there, and the atmosphere is very comfortable, very positive, and I enjoyed it then, and I enjoyed it, I think, even more so this time. That it just seems that morale is good, energy is good, and it's just got a positive vibe to it. And then being able to be productive and sit there and, talk through matches with people and getting to meet some new people. And, I finally got to meet Jay White and talked with Jay White and Chris Bay. And there's a lot of really good people down there. So I'm looking forward to working with more of them. And then obviously seeing the familiar faces. Like there's a half a dozen or 5 SWA grads there. So I really enjoyed the work part. I do have to get used to the long days of television. When you're, heading to the building at 10 a.m. for a production meeting and you don't get back to the hotel till 10 or 11 at night, that's a longer work day than walking my dogs for an hour and sitting on the couch.
So can you tell us what matches you helped to agent so I know which ones to bury when the show airs? Bury?
Well, I'm not going to tell you the ones I did for TV because those matchups haven't been announced or perhaps the angles cut for. At the No Surrender show, I was on the Jay White Eric Young match, which is super easy because those guys are really good and don't really need me for much other than helping the director find them with a camera. And then I also worked with Moose and Morrissey. So and those guys are as big as you think they are on the show. They are 2 really giant human beings. Like there was a top rope superplex spot with like Moose and Morrissey. And I can't imagine Morrissey spent a whole lot of his life standing on the top rope. So I was showing him, footwork for standing on the second and using the top, sort of between your legs for balance. You've got good stability up there. And it's like, okay, I climb up and I show him and then I climb down. And he's just standing on the apron. And he just swings his leg out and around and over the post to start climbing up. I'm just like, how the hell do you do that, dude? It's just stand there and I'll swing my leg over the post.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time with these guys that are on in AEW, like when a Christian shows up and all of a sudden, this Christian that was always, he's too small. And then you see him on this show and he just towers above everybody. He's like almost as tall as Luchasaurus. But the other way, it's like when you think about how big everybody is in WWE, and then you see a guy, and granted they used to put W. Morrissey in there with Enzo Amore, who really is no giant. But, Morrissey, Cass, was a fucking giant guy in WWE. So, like, I've never seen Omos in real life. But that guy's a fucking giant. Like, he's a legitimate giant on WWE television. So that's a guy where, you probably see that guy walking through an airport and you think that he should just, like, be on the runway, like one of the fucking airplanes. But these are big fucking dudes here.
Yeah, but
Morrissey,
you know how,
and
like,
Moose.
if you just had a regular, folding chair, or, one of the ringside chairs that you'd see, like, if you walked up from behind it and just swung your one leg over the back to sit down on the chair, that's what he did over the ring post to sit on the top rope. And I was just like, God damn, you're a big guy. So when you get him and Moose standing on the top rope taking a superplex, that's pretty damn impressive.
Who are some of the other folks putting together matches? Who's some of the agents on
Well,
Impact?
the first thing is I don't like the description that you and Dave and everybody else does of who are the ones putting together the matches. It's like talent does that. Like, agents can help, agents can guide, but unless you're working, like, I'm quite sure whoever agents a Lash Legend match, and this is a shot at her being green, not at her not being any good, like, I'm quite sure she needs someone to put her match together for her. Or even Omos, because it's not like he's an experienced worker, but it's not like I'm putting together a match for Jay White and Eric Young. Like, I would never insult them to come in and go, all right, this is what I think you should do. So for the most part, the agent's job is, again, offer advice or critique or guidance or answer, if they're like, which way do you think we should go? But it's more about getting the exact direction wanted from creative in the production meeting. You know what I mean? What does the writing staff and Scott D'Amore want out of this match? Where are we going next? So you know what they need to do to lead into things. So it's like the agent, while helping put a match together, sure, seldom does it for everyone, and that's where I don't like which agent put this match together? It's like, if the agent put it together by himself, it's like he's not doing his job, because you want the talent to do that. And then again, the other part of our job, which again is the night and day as far as Impact versus WWE. And obviously, well, actually, no, the pay-per-view, or the pay-per-view, the Impact Plus special, whichever you call these, the No Surrender shows.
We're all Lance. They're all pay-per-views.
Well, they're live.
Not premium live events.
Like, obviously, it's easier for us to do the taped Impact tapings because they can fix things. And if the shot's not right, they've got cameras rolling. They can fix it later. But with live, it's harder. So obviously, the tension of a live television show is more, but No Surrender was live. But the other part of the agenting gig is once you and the talent, or just the talent, gets their match sort of organized, it's like you need to, when you find out what they're doing, figure out where the cameras need to be to capture this action. And then me or whoever else needs to make those notes that, okay, after the Hurricane Rana spot, Jay White's going to bail out to the floor left camera side. We need to get a camera out there because there's a dive coming. Or again, if there's going to be a finish with the feet on the rope, it's like, okay, a move or two early. Try not to look too bored, Brian. A move or two early.
There's a giant fucking spider out here. So I wasn't rolling my eyes at you. I was like, what the fuck is it? We're on Kauai, so like everything's too big. So I was sitting here listening. I looked up and I went, holy shit, it's the fucking size of the moon. Anyway, go ahead.
You've already ate a bug. You can eat a spider next.
No.
And again, if there is a finish where you're going to have your feet on the ropes, or, a guy's going to pull a guy back in a sudden direction change and hit a chair, it's your job to make sure that 30 seconds or a minute before that, you let the director know, keep that chair in the shot. That's important. Get in, on the cover, make sure you can see his feet. They're going to be in the ropes. So that's more what I consider the agent job being than just putting the match together for somebody. Now, obviously...
Well, with that said, Lance, who are the other agents not putting these matches together?
Well, they've got Dreamer.
Okay. He's back.
He's back. He's been back for a while. And they're actually...
for a while.
There's several people that are talent but also agent. I don't know whether it's going to be a transition or a training or a helping out, but Gail Kim does some agenting. She's strictly a backstage person now. I think Madison might be doing some agent work. Cody Diener, Chris Sabin. I think Rhino might. I'm not even sure who it all is because I was just getting all of my stuff together. But again, it's the people that can have that vision and know where to block out the different shots and give the director that heads up. And that's where just a complete, 180 as far as a friendlier, more relaxed, helpful environment on headset, talking with the director and Josh and the producers and everybody, getting all of the shots. And it's being able to keep track of what's coming, to make sure that the director, because obviously it's a little bit easier for him to get camera people and get those poor guys with handhelds running around to the side of the ring if you need a shot. So that's a big part of what the producer job is. And then obviously, if you've got a really green person that really wants help, then you can help them put their match together. But again, I would try to avoid just going, hey, here's your match. Because I think then you run into the problem of then they're not doing their match, they're doing yours. And that's where I've always found, and that's where I liked with my virtual coaching. It's like, I try to avoid the, oh, hey, do this spot, or, oh, you could do this. It's like, it's more a case of you're better as an editor so that you're just fine-tuning someone else's story. And I would imagine it would be the same thing if you were, a publishing house. It's like you don't want the editor writing the book because then all the books are going to sound like they're from the same guy. But if you can have an author send in his book and you just fix the punctuation, decide that, hey, this gets a little bit long with this backstory, get it back into your action, and you just fine-tune someone else's story, I think that's where a really good agent shines, because then the Moose match doesn't feel like a W.C. Morrissey match, and a Speedball Mike Bailey match doesn't feel like a Chris Bay match. You don't want all of those guys to be having a Lance Storm match or a Chris Sabin match or whoever. You're better off to just be a director and an overseer.
All right, so we had the show this weekend, the premium live event, the pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, No Surrender.
The streaming special, whichever.
What are your unbiased thoughts on this program?
Well, I didn't see it all. I started watching it back today, but when you're there, you can only see so much. And when you have a couple matches to do, that's the other thing with the job description of being an agent is you're the guy out there trying to herd cats, or as I like to refer, trying to lasso a swarm of bees. That the more people involved in your match, the more people you have to try to get together during the day to go, can we sit down and put this thing together? I've got a couple matches today and I need to get this done. So there's only some of the matches I saw, and the first one I got to see most of was the opener, the 4-way number one contenders match. And I thought this was really great. This was a really action-packed thing, but the thing that amazes me, and it's like quite often, and again, with it being a TV product, I don't know which is more important, but you get a different feel for the talent in the show in person. Like when I was a fan first watching Bam Bam Bigelow, I didn't care much. I didn't get big star feel, but it's like when I was actually in Japan with him and watching him live, it was just like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. There's a presence here. And is this a pun? Is this a play on words? I don't know, but Jake Something's really got something. And this match, like there was the finish, he pinned Ace Austin. And they did a spot where he caught Austin out of the air and then had to, do the change of the direction, muscle him up and hit his finisher. And it's like, Austin's a big dude. Like, I think a lot of people think cruiserweight because he flips and jumps so much. But it's like, he's got those Rob Van Dam legs. And it's like Van Damme's a hell of a lot heavier than you would think because he's got those big muscular legs and hips, and Austin's got those too. And it's like Jake caught the dude. And it looked like the catch wasn't good, and he was kind of low. And I'm like, is this guy going to be able to get him up? And like, not only did he get him up, he got him up with ease. It was just this big, impressive finish. And I think Ace Austin's really got something. And then Speedball Mike Bailey, he only started, I think, the last taping. He's really unique too, and it's like I'm impressed with him. So it's like I thought the opener was fantastic. Obviously, I saw Jay White and EY because I was producing that one, and you know we talk about it all the time here. EY's great. It's like I don't know if people realize how good Eric Young is, and obviously you've been a fan for a while, but I'm just starting to see Jay White, and that dude just carries himself. And I actually just watched the match back today, and it's like Jay White in particular does all the little things well, and that's what I think a lot of current talent, not necessarily Impact or WWE, but just generally around the world, it's like they do their spots well and they do their things well, but it's like once the guy kicks out before you go into your next spot, what you're doing. And Jay is just incredible at having that, you know, stumble to your feet because you're late in the match, you know what I mean? And hit that punch even and stagger a little bit, catch your breath and come in with purpose. And just seeing the detail. And I think it's when you get to that point that you're no longer thinking of your match in spots, but you actually live in the moment and have that attitude on your face. This is a competition and I'm living and breathing the energy level that my character, I'm doing air quotes here, would have in that moment. So I was really impressed with the EYJ White match, and it was nice to have my first match back, one that I didn't have to worry too much about, that I knew it was going to be a home run. And the other, and I haven't watched the whole match yet, but just a commenting, the Jordyn Grace Matt Cardona feud. It's like, I think it's one of the hottest feuds we have in Impact. And as much as I'm not generally a intergender wrestling fan, I think this program is getting into that territory where Chyna was back in the day, because Jordyn Grace is such a brick shithouse, if you will. And that's where, too, you know, they've established, because they've shown some of her, you know, powerlifting meets and shit footage on the show. It's like you realize how much of a physical, strong woman she is, that it doesn't have that real uncomfortable feel that you get when the big muscular man is hitting the, you know, the size 0 tiny pretty girl. You have this big muscular man hitting this big muscular woman, and it's like you can get into more of it being a fight, but Jordan's got really good fire and she's over, and it's like these guys really did a great job. And it's funny in that, because again, just talking to them after the match, and it's like, this is just my opinion, sort of reading each person, but it's a case where I think they're both potatoing the hell out of each other and no one's willing to say anything, because obviously if Jordyn complains that the guy's stiffing her, you get into the, well, you want to work with dudes, you got to hang with the dudes. So it's like, she's not going to say a word because she's tough and she's going to just take it and not say a word. And it's like, I think she's just firing back with live rounds, and who knows if, you know, one of them threw the first live round or what, but it's like she's throwing solid at him, probably thinking he's a big, strong dude I can really lay my shit in. And it's like, Cardona can't complain, because you can't complain that the girl's hitting you too hard or the boys will rib you too much.
Yeah, see, I 100% disagree with this, because, like, if you're fucking hitting me too hard, I don't care if you're a woman, a mini, a child. Like, I've heard these stories before. I used to hear from people that got in the ring with Hornswoggle. And,
he's stiff as hell, I'm told.
Like, God, this guy just beat the shit out of me. And it's like, I don't care if you're, 2 feet tall. Like, don't fucking hit me too hard. Like, I don't care how little you are. I go in there, I train jiu-jitsu with these little kids. And, when you're trying to teach them jiu-jitsu, I'm in there, I'm helping with Paisley's Little Dragons class now, which is 4 to 6 year olds. And every now and then you'll show them an arm bar. Yeah, you show them an arm bar or whatever, and, you got to let them put this arm bar on you and do it. And, bro, these kids start to do it too hard. I say, stop! You're going to break my arm here. I have no compunction, if that's the word, to tell these little blokes not to kill me. I'm not too proud.
Well,
I got a life to live here.
The ribbing you would get in the locker room, I think, if you...
I don't give two fucks about that. I'll take it.
So it's funny because it's like Matt's in a position where it's like, I'm not going to put it over. And it's like, there's no way she's going to put it over. And again, I could be reading it wrong, but that's the way I viewed it. And I think it's just hilarious because that's the other, other than going, hey, dude, lighten the hell up. The other option is if you get hit with a live round, you throw a live round back and that person will either decide to lighten up or you end up working live rounds, which is what you often do with friends. You get I know Edge and Christian used to just beat the shit out of each other when they worked because they're buddies. And it's like the one guy fires a live round, the other guy throws it back. So it's like, I really got a kick out of it. And again, neither one of them got hurt. So it's not like they're beating each other and being sloppy, but it's like, you can just tell. And I think probably too, to sell.
Yeah, watch Drew and Sheamus have matches together.
Oof. Yeah.
That's two buddies that just hit each other as hard as humanly possible.
Yeah, I've seen some of those, and I'm just like, oh man, no, thank you. I prefer the Jerry Lynn and I friendship where we just go out there and don't touch each other and call it a night. But it's really enjoyable, and again, I think with the intergender concept, it's like I think it works better because if it looks like they're trying to be too careful, then it just looks like, well, then why bother? So, but it's a really hot program, and it's a lot of fun. Also, too, the other thing that I wanted to point out, there was the Good Brothers versus Gorillas of Destiny tag team title match. And Jay White and Chris Bay turned on the Gorillas of Destiny. And it's like, I was surprised because it's like, this is actually a New Japan angle playing out in Impact Wrestling. And when you first see they've got some New Japan strong guys, they've got some New Japan guys, they've got, when they had, some AAA guys, when they actually had AEW guys, it's like you're sort of under the assumption that nothing really important is going to happen. It's like, New Japan's going to let you use Jay White. They probably, they either won't let you beat him, or again, it's like if, you've got, you bring in the champion from another company. It's like, they're not losing the title. But the fact that something significant like a Bullet Club breakup turn happened on Impact and No Surrender, it's like, wow, it's like it makes all of the guys from other companies coming in feel like it means a lot more, much like when we got the Ring of Honor women's title changing hands at the last one where Deanna's got them both. So it's like, I thought that was a really big happening at the show. And then the other thing I want to comment on, just because I ended up being wrong, imagine that. We talked last week about that 10-man with...
I don't have to imagine it, Lance. I see it weekly.
Weekly? My goodness, Bryan. You can tell you're in Hawaii and feeling even safer.
I'm farther away.
But, we talked, or at least I talked about the, Steve Maclin being the last addition to the Team Impact. And it's like, is he going to be a traitor? Is he didn't? And it turned out that before the match started, Eddie Edwards got laid out. And it turns out that maybe it wasn't actually laid out because he came back in the end and turned on Impact after being touted as the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling. He ended up joining some of the guys.
What a tosspot!
What a tosspot. There you go. Not a term you usually hear.
No.
That's a William Regalism.
Yeah.
But, he's joined some of the former Ring of Honor people who are people he's had a history with. So big things moving forward in Impact of the show. But again, I heard nothing but good feedback from it. I actually talked to Denise afterwards because I wanted to get her thoughts on what she thought of the show. But I've only watched about half of it at this point. I've got to try to get through the rest to stay up. But when you're there working the shows, you don't get to see it all. And
all right.
Anyway, we got to get to the other.
Yeah, we got to get to Impact. For the first time, I actually watched an hour of Impact, and then you didn't see the show?
No, I watched it. I watched it so long ago.
I see.
That's where I realized when I was getting ready to set my notes, and I'm like, shit, because I've already watched this coming week's Impact because I get the show ahead of time.
You need to take some notes, buddy.
Well, that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, crap. It's like I got to be careful what I say because I've got in my head what's happening on Thursday, and last week's show seems like eons ago, which again, it was 5 days ago. But what did you think of the .com match? I assume you watched that one.
It was funny. I could talk about that match for a while.
Okay,
So
let's
I've been hot and cold on intergender, and thing with intergender is I don't believe there's any one right answer. Like, I don't think it should be absolutely zero intergender in all of pro wrestling, or just go hog wild with your intergender. So, what I thought watching this match early, because Jordyn Grace is in there, and she's a big, strong power lifter. She's no joke. And
she'd throw you all over the place.
Oh, she'd beat my ass. Except if I put on a gi. But anyway, so I was watching this match, and I thought, in real life, okay, in UFC, they don't do intergender. They do men versus men and women versus women. But you know what they do in UFC? Weight divisions, okay? And when I watched this match, I thought to myself, because women are involved, you don't want to say words weight. Like, you don't want to say, Jordyn Grace has to wrestle a man who's her weight. You don't want to talk about their weight, okay? But there should be like a general, like, if you're a big, jacked up, powerful woman, you could have matches with big, jacked up, powerful men.
Like Chyna did.
Whereas if you look like AJ Lee, you essentially have to be wrestling me or Marco Stunt, okay? You should not put AJ Lee in an intergender match with Omos, okay?
Don't put anybody in a match with Omos.
So when I was watching it, I was like, I really have a problem with this match because, she's big and strong, he's big and strong, and this feels like, something resembling. What you don't want in intergender is a huge man beating the shit out of a small woman. It never works, okay? It never works. I've seen great intergender matches with Chris Statlander, who's buff. Her and Joey Janela had a great intergender match. And so that's what I was thinking watching this match. Is like, I don't mind Jordyn Grace in here with this guy because it looks like she'd beat his ass.
It visually works, yeah, because she is so strong. But
no sooner should I think this than this fucking guy grabs a chair and just starts beating the shit out of her with a chair. At that point, I was like, wait a second here. Hold on a minute. So yeah, I just feel like it was all right. And then later, like, she was taking a keyboard and beating the shit out of him with the keyboard. And even that was like, I don't like this one either. Anytime you got weapons in a man versus woman match.
I will say this. Both of them separately afterwards when I talked to them, both said the keyboard was like the worst, stiffest, most painful thing
I'm sure it was.
It was so brutal.
So yeah, when I saw them hit each other with objects, then it was kind of like, I don't know about this one. But just having an intergender match, like if it's a smaller woman against a smaller man, whatever. Bigger woman against a bigger man, whatever. But huge man versus small woman, you just can't make it work. It's virtually impossible. So I didn't have a problem with the match, really, except for them violently hitting each other with chairs. Probably could have done
without that. They didn't do that much stuff.
Oh, dude, he pounded her with that chair. He took this chair and he's like, bam, bam, just crushing her. So, yeah. Go over the lineup, and I'll find my other Impact notes.
The rest of the lineup from what, Impact?
You had a lineup here.
Oh, that was for Sacrifice, which is this Saturday.
Yes.
In Louisville, Kentucky. Sacrifice, which airs, this is, again, not the full pay-per-view. I believe this is the, on Impact Plus on their YouTube Premium, whatever. We've got Moose versus Heath for the Impact title. We've got Mickie James versus either Tasha Steelz or Chelsea Green for the Knockouts title. Thursday will be the Tasha-Chelsea match to determine who faces Mickie James. And then we got the Vinny V special, Jonah versus PCO.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that one.
That's going to be a whole lot of violence.
All right, here's my other notes.
Okay.
Very, very upset that Cardona won because they did a spot where he took his cup out of his penis, his cup next to his dick.
He didn't take it out of his penis. He took it out of his trunk.
It was by it. And then he tries to put it in her face, and she blocks it. And then she reverses it, and she puts it in his face. And he's flat on the mat, and she's pushing his own dick-covered cup into his face. I thought this is the perfect finish. And when he fucking kicked out, you had heat with me there, Lance. I presume you were were you the agent?
I was.
Yeah.
I may
Fuck
have actually.
you.
I may have actually come up with that
Fucked
spot.
up the best. That was a perfect finish. Don't come up with a spot like that if it's on the finish, Lance. What
I'm
are
not
you,
the one
green?
that decides who's going over.
God, that was a perfect fucking finish. And I think the only other thing that I want to say about the show is they do a great job with their video packages.
Yes.
Great job. You've been recapping everything, but I haven't been watching a lot of Impact lately. Although I got through an hour today, that's a good improvement. And the opening video package I thought was excellent. The storyline they're doing with the Ring of Honor, I think it's a good invasion angle. I think that Moose's fucking promo, Moose and Heath were great. They are great promos. And, not saying that like WWE is the be all and end all or anything like that. Certainly. But, I watched this promo and I was like, they fucking got rid of Heath because they're incompetent. And, how in the fuck have they not offered millions of dollars to Moose? I mean, this guy is incredible. So I thought that was great.
I think Moose is just really happy where he is.
Well, I don't blame him. Let him do what he's doing. He's doing great. The money's
really
right.
He really carries himself well as a world champ. Like, he really has a presence and a delivery. And again, I think a lot of that credit, I think, does go to Don Callis. I think he did a lot of coaching of Moose when he was with Impact, because if one thing Don knows is to carry himself as if he thinks he's like the greatest fucking thing in the world, because that's Don. He acts like that in real life. But
what a prick.
He really is. But if you want to be a heel superstar on television, you just act like Don Callis does in real life.
Well, he came up in an era like I did where, me and Don, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hear what he says about you?
Fuck that guy. So anyway, who else I want to put over? It's not Don Callis. Scott D'Amore. Got a lot of, we've seen a lot of authority figures in this business. And there's good ones and bad ones. And I thought Regal was always great at his job. And I think that D'Amore does a great job. He comes off as there's a sincerity about the way he does his delivery. Like he's trying to make this shit work. He's in Impact, for fuck's sake, the old TNA. He's doing everything he can to make this work, and he's trying to. There's all these, forces working against him. He's got to try to keep this group happy, and I think he does a great job in his segments.
Yeah, I think he's the perfect guy in that he's got the history with the company that we can, we know he's been there off and on forever. And I think he's got the respect of people, but he's not that giant star that overshadows everyone. And I think that really works for him, is he's got credibility, he's got great delivery, but he's not going to tower over Moose and tell him what to do and strong arm. So he is a really good fit and a good person. And Scott's always been a good promo. It's just, he never got a big run anywhere for people to actually know that. But, he is a very good general manager, executive vice president, whatever the hell he actually is. But, and the fact that he is the top guy, you used to mention it with Cornette and OVW back in the day. It's like when he's the guy that's in charge of putting all the show together, it's like he knows where the story is supposed to go. He knows who's supposed to get over.
Cornette, Vince.
So when he's out there, it's like, he's got the microphone, but it's like he literally has the reins of the company too. So he knows where the shit's supposed